Good evening, everyone. My name is Doug McSween, and I'm representing William Bucky Walzak. But before we start, we talk about a multitude of sports in the Waterford. And just to clarify, Gay, it's the dysfunctional dart league that he runs. It's very important. Don't get caught up by the name. The second sport that would take all night to go through was donkey baseball. Now, this was a big sport in the Waterford, but you have to be half in the bag to get through that one. Another one, this wasn't a sport. One of my brothers did it, though, because there's sportsmen, there's horsemen in the crowd. My brother Ronnie, we're about 1959, we're out whitewashing the trees for my father. And Ace Moore, secretariat in Seattle Slough, same church, different pew. Anyhow, he comes along and having a look to see what we're doing, a curious horse, young, beautiful. He goes, wait, Ronnie paints the back end of him. So we didn't know, we didn't care, it didn't matter. You know, we were after leaving there, raiding Burt Gatto's trees, fist fights, we forgot all about it. Anyhow, Uncle Willie, as we called him, he wasn't my uncle, but we all knew him. He comes out to get his pride and joy. Now, you can think of this beautiful animal is out in the field, jogging around, muscled and everything else, and he's cruising along, and Willie comes out to have a look at him, turns around. He's a dark brown horse, turns around, and all the back end is white. Whoa. Willie come over to our house, and discretion was a better part of valor. We said, Ronnie, run, you know. Ronnie was gone for the day, thank God. Willie did forgive him, but I think up there they're waiting for him, and they're going to bucket of whitewash for him. So now getting back on, these are the regular bizarre things that drove our parents nuts. Anyhow, getting back to William Bucky Walzak. As I speak about Bucky, as all the conversations, they slide between the Waterford Giants and Bucky because one was a fabric of the other. Bucky, date of birth, July 26, 1933, married to the lovely Teresa McKinnon, August 15th, 1961. And I bring that out because I asked Wally the date of, I don't know. Anyhow. Oh, I forgot one thing before I moved on. We have a new sport in town. It's called a spelling bee, and we have a spelling bee champ. But I'm not going to go into that either. Kicking back to where I should be, stay on task. Married to the lovely Teresa McKinnon, August 15, 1961. Children, Mark, Joe, and Mike. 9 grandchildren and 3 great-grandchildren. Parents, the late William and Gertrude Walzak. Father-in-law, mother-in-law are the late Cassie and Willie McKinnon. Lived on the great Mount Carmel Avenue, because I'm from there, for his married life, yes. Anyhow, Bucky worked for CN. His sports were hockey, baseball, probably a multitude of sports, but baseball was the hot sport for him. Defensively, he played catching, center field, left field, and 3 years earlier, Bucky and a number of his teammates played for the Junior Bisons that lost out to the Canning squad. And why I bring this up, they do get their revenge. Continuing, Bucky played for the infamous Waterford Giants. He was a team captain and sometimes co-captain with Carl Marsh. The average age of the team was 23 years. And 2 interesting aspects of it, as I read through everything I could get a hold of, there was no national level to test the team's skill. That would have been interesting after the Maritime title to try it on a national level, but there wasn't at the time. And number 2, very important, no imported players. It was New Waterford and District. And the road to the championship was as follows. New Waterford beat Sydney in 5 straight games. Sydney eliminated Glace Bay to get there. Next New Waterford, next visit was the Northside Ramblers, and they won that in 5 games. And as was written in the Cape Breton Post by Audrey Kaiser, and he was a very strong writer, and talking to Dim Willie about it, he said the front pages of New Waterford was all sports. But this was interesting that he put in. These were the top plays of the day and had playoff class written all over it. Russ Gordon in the first inning pounded a terrific drive out to center field, and it looked like it was, in brackets, real gone. But Walzak got in high gear and moved out under it for the out. And that started the pattern and stayed pat for the duration of the contest. As it was written, saw Ramblers' every attempt foiled. The championship game was a 12-2 victory for the hometown squad. Next on the list was the Nova Scotia semifinals, a 3 out of 5 series. New Waterford beat the Stellarton Avalons in 3 straight games. Scores were 10-0, 4-2, and 12-5. And then next was the Nova Scotia title, and here they got their revenge. In 4 games, 2 were tied, and the scores were as followed: 3-3, 4-2, 1-1, and 13-6 for the New Waterford squad, and they got their revenge. Finally, they meet the Woodstock Elks for the Maritime title. And this final game went 15 innings, so that's pretty impressive. It went 15 innings. The scores were 7-4 and 4-1. Crowds in the Waterford were estimated between 6,000 and 10,000. And as I mentioned before about the Waterford and District, it was stated, it was written, Woodstock pitcher Dana Worcester signed a Class C with the Milwaukee Braves. The point is, New Brunswick team was described as import-packed team. So they were taking on a lot. As for Bucky, as I read in the stats, he continued to contribute to runs, sac flies, singles, doubles, etc. Offensively, and as I said before, defensively with center field, left field, and catching. Bucky was a 15-year veteran in the Waterford Baseball Association as a player, coach, and Maritime champ. Bucky coached the 1955 Junior Giants, and they won the Cape Breton Championship by defeating the Glace Bay Antonians. Bucky was, along with his teammates, inducted into the Cape Breton Sports Hall of Fame April 21st, 2001. And at this time, I'd ask Teresa and family to come forward and accept the plaque for Bucky. Good job. Thank you.
Well, this is not something normal I do, but probably because of baseball, I'd probably a little older now because Dad was pretty busy playing ball. I'd probably be a little older. But anyway, on behalf of the family, we'd like to thank all of you guys and people here at the Sports Heritage Hall of Fame for inducting my father. I'm sure he's having a good time up there watching it.